Hey guys, so this is a slightly different type of video that I would normally do. I do have a few other videos in the pipeline that are similar to this, and I do want to get back into making videos again. The archery content, just as an FYI, is probably going to be done on Mandarin Duck's page. I do work with them. I've been working with them since 2019, and it just makes more sense when I do eventually get out to do more archery content to put it out on there. Um, but I figured a Spider-Man 2 is now, or is recently added their new game plus. I've had the game since January. My partner spoiled me with a PS5 back in January, and I love Spider-Man. So I wanted to put out this video. I know some parts, the audio is trash. I'm still working on that. I promise for the next few videos it will be better. But I hope you enjoy. Take care.
Back in the year 2000, arguably one of the most important movies for pop culture was released. X-Men. With Hugh Jackman famously taking on the mantle of the iconic Wolverine. Now look, I had grown up on the cartoons the same as everyone else. I had even fallen in love with the Iron Man cartoons before it was cool. But there was something about the X-Men specifically that just appealed to me. It called to me, especially Wolverine. Well, after seeing that film, of course I did what any self-respecting nerd with a nose far too big for their head would do, and I hounded and I harassed my dad to get me comic books of Wolverine. And let's be clear about this, I just wanted Wolverine comic books, and I read all manner of Wolverine comic books. I even read a series where he was a Japanese samurai, and I don't mean he was in Japan meeting the Silver Surfer. No, I mean it was a variant and he was actually a Japanese samurai who wasn't that great and got sliced open and his powers came. It was great. It was fantastic. But then one day my father did the unthinkable. He brought home a comic book of Spider-Man versus the Silver Surfer.
He couldn't know what he was about to unleash. Now look, it doesn't matter if your favorite Spider-Man is Ben Reilly, who is objectively the superior Spider-Man. Fucking fight me. Or perhaps Miguel O'Harris, or even if you want to go more classic with Peter Parker. The simple fact is that there is a Spider-Man who resonates with everyone. One second. Learn how cosplayers do that. Wow. Anyway, the point is, Spider-Man is easily one of the darkest superheroes that is out there. And yes, I understand how that sounds with the bright red and blue, but Ben Reilly himself is one of the darkest versions out there. He has the memories of Peter Parker and of Gwen Stacy. So too does the other owner of this Spider-Man suit, which means that there's not only this memory of failing Gwen Stacy, but also of being failed by Spider-Man. And like, depending on which comic books you're reading, well, maybe Peter Parker was actually brainwashed and is actually Ben Reilly. I admit, it gets complicated, and then you got like Spider-Pig and stuff. But the point is, Spider-Man means so many things to so many different people when he's given the opportunity to shine. And Insomniac, they let Spider-Man shine.
Now look, I do have a few things to say about this game, and while not all of it is good, I do want to stress, I am currently playing New Game Plus. This is a game that I have played to completion. I have finished everything, and I'm going to repeat myself later anyway, but this is a game that I do genuinely think is worth your time. So if you're on the fence about buying it or playing this and you've not done so already, yes, it is a resounding yes. This is a good, solid game. You are going to enjoy it. I mean, just look at this. You can be Ben Fluffing Reilly. Wonderful. Now, anyway, with that being said, let's do get into some of the negatives. Now, obviously, there's going to be spoilers for this. I'm going to touch a little bit on the controversies around the game in terms of Sweet Baby Inc. But I'm going to do my best to keep it focused on the game because that's the thing that actually matters here. So, while overall the gameplay is fantastic and is super enjoyable, when you're playing the story, there are certain elements that just drag you right out of it. Just like the first game, there are missions where you're going to play as MJ, and I hated them. Like, I do not want to sneak around as someone who doesn't have superpowers in a game called Spider-Man 2. Like, I gave it a free pass in the first game because, okay, little bits you're playing as Miles, that's cool because, you know, he's going to be a Spider-Man. There was obviously setting that up, and the MJ part I sort of tolerated because it was nice and quick, and these aren't lengthy segments in this game, so that's going for it. But I still just hated them and I wanted to push past them. It was nice playing as Peter Parker and going down memory lane with Harry. I enjoyed that. And maybe it's just because I wasn't in the mood to play as MJ. Maybe that's what dragged it out. And this has to be said. The side mission where you play as the Death Girl. Now, first and foremost, people want to say more representation in video games. Okay, that's fantastic. I'm going to come back with I'm dyslexic. If I'm reading subtitles, I'm not seeing what's on the screen. So there, have some of that. Either way, like, I'm not opposed to a Death Girl being in the story, and honestly, on my second playthrough, I know what I'm getting into. I will probably take my time more with that segment, but it's... let's put it this way. The only reason why I'm not making a big fuss of that is purely because that particular segment where you play as a Deaf Girl who's doing graffiti was an optional side mission. That's it. If it was something that I had to have done, yeah, I would have ranked this game a lot lower based on that short time. But, as I said, it was just a short time. And speaking of Sweet Baby Inc., it was fairly obvious when their influence was felt. Now look, representation exists in video games. Do we need more of it? Sure, probably. Can it be done organically? Yes, absolutely. In fact, probably within a week or so of this video being released, I would have written an article on my Vocal page showing that creativity is really important in video games, and it's, well, we're just not seeing it. Not seeing it at all. But anyway, back to this game in particular. Oh yeah, this right here, this isn't a trailer. This is me playing as Venom. Now, admittedly, I suck, but like, you're playing as Venom. Like, you play as Venom in this game. I don't think I'm explaining this. You play as Venom. And also the different suit in this game is something that I do want to touch on as well, because the symbiote suit itself changes. It changes when it's on Harry, and it becomes closer to Agent Venom than anything else. And then when Peter finally gets the suit, it does change. And it's not a change that's really remarked on in the game. I had to do a double take and actually sit back and think, did the symbiote suit just change as it has warped Peter a little bit? Is that what's happened, or am I imagining things? It was a really cool, subtle way that they've done this, and the symbiotes themselves are one of my favourite comic book characters. Back originally, I know they've retconned it a few times, but in the earlier versions of the symbiote lifespan, I suppose, it wasn't that the symbiotes were evil. It's that Peter's emotions combined with the symbiote itself turned the symbiote a little bit dark and a little bit aggressive, because Peter is dark and aggressive. As I've said, Spider-Man is actually one of the darkest superheroes that's out there. Don't let the bright red and blue fool you. He has got some dark, twisted stories. This is a tortured character, and that is going to come into play soon anyway. But going back to the symbiotes, the reason why Venom became a villain wasn't because he was always a villain, but because the Venom symbiote was rejected after tasting the darkness of Peter Parker. And that's something that I genuinely loved. And you don't really get that in this game, but if you've sort of got that in the mindset, that sub layer of storytelling is in there somewhere. You can work in the headcanon, is what I'm saying. Now, touching on the suits themselves. Now, in the first game, there were some amazing suits. There were some suits that I was really excited and loved wearing. The one you're seeing right now, the darker Spider-Man, but with this wonderful variant color of the white and the lime green, the black. I think this is just absolutely fantastic, and I didn't use this suit enough during my first playthrough. But again, in the first game, the Ben Reilly suit, obviously my favorite Spider-Man, the Miguel O'Hara suit, fantastic, and the color variants you can get in this are absolutely phenomenal. And yes, there are paid suits, which irks me a lot, but it's my understanding they will not always be paid suits, so you know, if you're patient, you're going to get them free anyway. That being said, while a lot of the Peter Parker Spider-Man suits were really appealing and I really loved them, it was really hard for me to find a suit for Miles that was all that enticing. I mean, sure, there are some cool suits, and when I played the Miles Morales game, a lot of the time I used the 2020 suit, and here having it in purple, obviously my favorite color, that's a really nice touch. But there are no real suits that just scream Spider-Man, and that kind of is important when you play a game like this that gives you those options. If it was just one suit for Miles, then well, that would be that. But the fact that there are so many different suits and there's not really that many that really strike and hit the notes for Miles, I don't know, I just feel kind of disappointed with that. Maybe it's because, you know, Miles obviously isn't as long running as Peter Parker, so there's not that many suits, but well, I've put this off for as long as I can. Let's look at the Adidas suit for Miles. It just sucks. It sucks donkey parts. Now I know, right now you're probably looking at Miles and he's got a variation of that Adidas suit, and I will admit I kinda like that variation, but the basic one is just bog ass. That's what it is. It is bog ass. Simple as that. And the whole story behind it really doesn't make all that much sense either. I mean, in Miles' standalone game, that's sort of what he's doing. He's finding his own identity as Spider-Man. So the fact that he's changed his suits, I don't know. But then maybe I'm just butthurt because the suit, as it comes, bog standard, is just so bad. And when we're talking about Miles himself, generally speaking, his questline is pretty good. The vengeance that he wants to take out on Martin Lee, combined with him trying to keep his family together, his heritage, the music aspects of him, these are all things I really liked. I hated everything to do with the school because it just seemed so dumb. And speaking of dumb, the first Spider-Man game did not have this. It was introduced in the Miles Morales standalone game and is brought over in this game. We have to talk about it. The bloody app. The Spider-Man app. Come on. That is horrible. It's such an immersion breaking thing for me. Like, and I know it's just a game. It's just a game, and in terms of gameplay, it makes sense. but it's a really dumb concept from people who are meant to be fairly clever. It really is. It just... But anyway, that's me ranting about the Spider app, done and dusted. Apart from that, I enjoyed most of the side missions for Miles. I enjoyed his main story. And at the end of the game, yes, spoilers again, the fact that he's going to take over from Peter, I kind of expected it. Now, not just because I'd seen some of the reviews before I actually got a PS5 and played the game myself, but throughout the whole thing, you're seeing everything wear on Peter, and you're seeing Miles not necessarily reject his identity, but more wanting to be more of the Spider-Man and really coming into his own. Yes, he did that in his standalone game, but I think it's shown much better with this one. Like, you don't have to have played Miles' game to understand what's going on in this one. It helps, but you don't have to. But let's focus on Peter. So, as I said, he is constantly showing throughout this that he is... I don't want to say done. Done seems wrong, but in the very opening mission, which, by the way, could be one of the most epic and impressive opening missions in any video game I have ever played, and that it probably includes Metal Gear 2. In the opening mission, he almost dies. If it wasn't for Miles there, he would have been buried by Sandman. He would have been done. Throughout the first game, you are seeing his hero, his icon, turn into something else and crush him emotionally, beat him within an inch of his life physically. He is constantly shown that he's just not as up for it as someone like Spider-Man should be. It has taken a real toll. Peter Parker has sacrificed everything. He's lost Aunt May, he's lost Uncle Ben, he's lost his job, he's lost his income, he has lost friends and family, and throughout playing this game you're constantly shown of how he is not just taking a physical beating but an emotional one as well. So it makes sense that he would want to, by the end of the film, stand back and let Miles take over, because while Peter is suffering, and he truly is suffering throughout this, Miles is constantly showing that he's got this, that he's capable, that he's able to keep his emotions in check and be the Spider-Man that New York really needs to see. So it makes sense from a storytelling perspective to have Peter Parker step aside at the end of the game. Now look, in terms of gameplay, you're still going to get to play and switch between them after you've done the main missions. Like, nothing's going to change that way. And maybe if they do put out a Spider-Man 3, that's going to be a little bit odd if you're going to bring him back like halfway through or towards the end. Like, I don't know how they would do it. But it makes sense the way that they have done it. Honestly, as much as I love Spider-Man, as much as I love Peter Parker, I'm not mad at the way that they've handled this. Kraven was an absolute beast. And Venom, well, he was no joke. He was everything that we needed Venom to be. And having it be Harry Osborn rather than just Eddie Brock or some schmuck who picks up the Venom suit, it made so much more of an emotional impact. This game has such a fantastic story, and in terms of gameplay, I mean, you're seeing me go around the city. Some people for some reason are annoyed that you've got the whole glider thing, but you know what? The city is huge. It is huge, and if you don't want the gliding, well, you don't have to use it barring like 2 or 3 segments. Apart from that, you're good just to swing around, but you are missing out. Spider-Man, well, Angry Joe probably put it the best way. Spider-Man's probably the best Superman we've gotten and are gonna get in a very long time. It is, simply put, a fantastic game. It's fun to traverse the city, whether you're swinging through the buildings, whether you're jumping off the tallest buildings, whether you're seeing how fast you can get your gliding to go, whatever it might be, it is fun to move around the city. The combat, honestly, whether you're Miles or Peter, doesn't really take much getting used to. They're pretty much the same moves, barring the specials. That being said, Peter Parker's specials, until he gets the symbiote, are kind of weak sauce. Like they're crap. Like let's not say it's something that it's not. It's crap. Peter Parker Spider-Man has got crap powers until he gets the symbiote and can use the whole tentacle thing. But once you've got that, that's really the only difference in terms of gameplay. One is lightning, one is tentacles, or if you prefer, robot spider legs that... I mean, where do they go? Where do they go? Anyway.
By the way, I bought none of this for this particular video. I already had absolutely everything. And fun fact, the zip on this doesn't really zip anymore because I'm a lot more... I am not as light as I used to be. So this is snug. I'm going to put some shorts on. I gotta say, like, I don't know how cosplayers do it because, like, this is a very thin, very, very thin Spider-Man suit. Now, admittedly, it's a cheap one, but, like, not much is left to the imagination. Also, another fun fact, when I got this suit come through the post and I put it on, I was delaying going shopping, but I had to go shopping because I, like, had nothing to eat. And by the time I got this on and I had pranced around with different poses and everything, yeah, it was getting very close to the shop shutting, and I just did not have the time to get this off because the zip was in a very awkward place. So I put some trackies on and a hoodie over the top, and I went shopping in my Spider-Man outfit. Thank God the mask is easy to get off. Now let me clear a few things up. Yes, I've said some negative things about this game. However, I am legitimately doing my second run. New Game Plus. I am going to buy the DLC. I am going to happily play the DLC. This is a game that legitimately I do recommend. I do. I do. It is a phenomenal game. The little things about it, they really do drag me down, but I do understand why, from a storyteller's perspective, some of the elements were kept in. But I also want to touch a little bit on the whole multiplayer online Spider-Man game that is and simultaneously isn't happening. Like, last thing I heard, it was cancelled and it was back on, so I don't know. But what I will say is this: I love the idea of playing a particular variant of Spider-Man and going into this open world, this giant city with a few friends and just being superheroes in the city. I do. I love that idea of it. I love the fact that I could be Ben Reilly or Miguel O'Harris, or perhaps there's going to be some other color scheme and maybe some new suits. I mean, hell, if I got superpowers, my dream ideal perfect suit would be a mix of Ben Reilly and Miguel O'Harris's suit. But I can hold out. I can wait, because we've had a lot of bad games. We have. Suicide Killed the Justice Squad, I think, has spooked a lot of people. And when I say a lot of people, what I really mean is a lot of executives. That was something that they thought would just bring in the money, no questions about it, an easy layup. And the fans responded accordingly to what we got. This was not a good game in any stretch of the imagination. And I'm not talking about just the fact that it's, you know, murking Batman and Superman, because, like, we sort of knew that was going to happen. It's called Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League for a reason. But it's just not a good game. And I can so easily see the multiplayer Spider-Man game being more or less the same as that. And honestly, I'm good if that thing never comes out. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. Like if you like, comment if you have a comment. My affiliate links, all that stuff is down below. Thank you so much again. I'll see you next time.